What is up YouTube, it's Kingfisher745 and welcome to episode 22 of Team Spotlight. This is the series based around a theme team, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. But the purpose isn't to make an overpowered team. Instead, the focus is the theme. And this pairing is the Radiology team. Get ready to get exposed. Now the theme of this team of course is going to be around radiation exposure, but even though Pepsi Can Iron Patriot is the master of that, hands down, we're going to be using two Age of Ultron Avengers. This of course also allows our agent to join the team by using a specific piece of the Legionnaire set. But first, we're using the Avengers Age of Ultron Iron Man, and he can definitely pack in the radiation. First of all, you can add the ionizing AISO to any energy attack, but since his level 1 already has that debuff, and it has a follow-up attack, by adding the ionizing AISO you can actually get a full 4 stacks on one enemy in just one move. Then Vision has his microwave pulse, which can be a stealthy attack that he can use from phased, and if you add the ionizing AISO on it, it'll place 2 stacks of radiation exposure on all the enemies at once. Finally, my agent is in his Bruiser Safeguard suit, and we're using the Golden Heavy Ion Beam. That's going to be a quick action radiation exposure and isolate corruption attack. So for this team, and more importantly for this theme, that's a pretty solid quick action. But moving on, it's going to be the Legion Pulse Rifle. This is what grants us on the team, allowing us to gain the Avengers Age of Ultron passives. It also applies radiation to all enemies, and it has a chance to preemptively attack. After that, we have another piece of the set, the Legion Particle Accelerator. This causes crackle and ionized, so it increases the damage of radiation. It also will counter enemies that have radiation exposure. Then lastly, we have the Synthetic Cube, and that's just for general purposes. By the way, this is a team that I wanted to make a Team Spotlight episode for quite some time, but the addition of the Age of Ultron Vision costume, and more importantly the fact that there's not so many worthy teams that are immune to radiation, has lent itself to me finally being able to make this team. By the way, for a more lethal version, but less of a theme team, I did consider using Iron Patriot and someone like Cable. That could be a serious Alpha Strike team that would have plenty of chances to place a ton of radiation exposure in a hurry. We'll probably take a look at that team in the future, but for now I want to stick to the Avengers. So after Vision hits with a 2 radiation microwave pulse and a counterattack, our Iron Man will use his repulsor ray. Like I mentioned, this move with the ionizing AISO could potentially place 4 stacks in one turn, and that's exactly what it would have done, but it wasn't completely necessary. Still, now that we have 4 stacks on him, we're going to fire our Golden Heavy Ion Beam first on Red Hulk, and then we'll hit him with the Legion Particle Accelerator. By the end of this, he's going to have 3 stacks of radiation and ionized, so in theory it should cause quite a bit of damage. However, at the beginning of his turn when he should take this damage, he does not. And since our Iron Man is a blaster, he's going to attack us twice. Not exactly according to plan there, but at least the Relentless Rapier does miss. That could have been really bad. Now on Vision's turn, the other good thing that I should mention about radiation exposure is it increases the damage taken from energy attacks. Not that his Solar Joel needs that much help, but we'll take it. And we're going to unleash that attack on Pestilence Beast. So that completely knocks him out, and the enemy agent barely lives despite his dots. So once again, not a perfectly executed match, but we shouldn't have any trouble winning. In fact, on Iron Man's turn, we're going to jump into our Hulkbuster uniform. So let's dial up Veronica. Then we can use his level 1 Iron Pummel to exhaust Red Hulk. This should definitely help us out. And on our agent's turn, I'm just going to use the Heavy Ion Beam once again, and then the Light Fantastic to heal our team, plus remove our debuffs. After we use this effect, Red Hulk will hopefully take his dots, and then the Radiology team's work will be finished. So there it is, call in a code blue, Red Hulk is done. Now I do want to mention that we had no problems against any Pestilence Beast and Red Hulk team, but I didn't want to have a full video of that, so I kept searching until I found more enemies to face. And in this second matchup, we're taking on an old school Havoc and Quicksilver team, and I definitely assumed that they had a lot of firepower. So this fight is pretty much a kill or be killed matchup. Following Quicksilver's attacks, we're going to go ahead and use the Blackest Void. We got pretty lucky that we got a big and fast proc, that way we could remove the Mystic Shroud. Otherwise, there wouldn't be any radiation coming, at least for the first round. But with the Shroud gone, we unleash the Repulsor Rays, and we get our follow-up attack. So the enemy agent's now dealing with 4 stacks of radiation, and it takes quite a toll. Unfortunately though, he will use the Fire Tornado, and then the Neurotrope, which we actually like. That's because Iron Man provides Pays the Bills, which grants Boonbuster to our team's attacks. Boonbuster says deals increased damage against targets with strengthened, fortified, focused, agile, shield, or regen effects. So Vision's Microwave Pulse was pretty sick, and it applies 2 times radiation exposure to the entire enemy team. Then with Iron Man we'll once again use Repulsor Ray, even though we only need 2 more stacks of radiation. Now this won't kill him, but with those dots it should take him pretty low. Oh, and we also get a Legion Pulse Rifle preemptive counter, but Havoc unfortunately unleashes a huge hit on my agent. We're going to go ahead and return the favor with Vision, and even though it doesn't crit, it does 43k. So now with only Havoc remaining, a Unibeam's going to do it. And that's it for our second match. For our final matchup, we're facing another Age of Ultron Avengers team. This one however is using Thor and Hulk. They have a very nice health pool, and unfortunately I'm sure they have the Mighty Shroud. So for our first hit, we're going to go ahead and use Melee Interface, and then we'll use our Stealthy Attack, Intangible Fist. What I figured was we might as well be in phase to begin this match, and that should at least save Vision from any damage. I'm not quite sure why, but our heart said hit Hulk, even though we're only going to give him Hulk up and make him mad. But hey, hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us. And actually, our phase technique works out perfectly, because Hulk goes right for Vision. Well, I have to say that was definitely a bright decision by the enemy AI. And so now with my agent, I'll remove the Mighty Shroud with the Blackest Void. With that shroud gone, the Radiology team is now on call. Oh, and the enemy used the Neurotrope, which is some more good news. He then attacks with a Legion Pulse Rifle, but my Bruiser Safeguard agent will take it all. We get a big and fast proc, so we'll use the Heavy Ion Beam, and then we get countered, plus we trigger their big and fast. So that's not too great, and he uses another Legion Pulse Rifle. Hey, we're supposed to be the radiation team here. Our attempts to attack him causes another preemptive counter, but our Legion Particle Accelerator at least hits. Despite all of this, he only has 1 stack of radiation, so we're going to use our Repulsor Ray, and hopefully max that out. He's also a bruiser, so this should be a pretty decent hit. But first, another preemptive. And we do get our follow-up attack, so at least that's some good news. Hey, and we finally get a preemptive hit. So I'm fine with that as long as we get to exchange. And now on Thor's turn, this is a little bit scary, but he fortunately misses with his hammer throw. Next up, with Vision, I'm going to try to lock out Hulk's melee attacks, and hopefully ranged. There's nothing I'd like to see more than him have to recharge rather than hit us a ton of times. But he is going to start with his Titanic Hurl, which we counter, and that gives him another Hulk up. Next he'll use his Thunderclap, and even though this is bad, I do have to say at least Vision is phased. Oh, and at the end he's actually going to take out his own agent, so that did work out quite well. Plus we counter him again. Then with his extra turn, he also takes down Iron Man. So yeah, this is a pretty wild battle. But we'll use the heavy ion beam on him, and we'll do that before healing our team. So here goes some more radiation. That causes a counterpunch. And then he dies to crackle. So now with my agent, we'll use a light fantastic just as a little bit of insurance. And now Thor shouldn't be able to knock us out. Well, he goes after our phase target anyways. So once again, we'll try to reduce the enemy's potential with vision. This attack is quite useful because it keeps you unfazed, and it can also lock out pretty much anything the enemy can do. Then after that, we're going to just use the improbability field and wait for vision to end this. As long as his level 9 hits, we're going to have a big finish. Oh, and by the way, I don't think I mentioned this, but Thor of course is immune to radiation. So that's why we haven't really been trying to put that on him. It's one unfortunate part of fighting an Asgardian. But still, after we switch with range interface, our solar jewel shouldn't have any problem knocking him out. And so we do a 42k crit. That one's going to win this battle and end the video. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I want to thank you all for watching. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck and take care.